Now then, back in the workshop yet again, and we have another Henry here, just the top half, and I picked it up because it was there, and probably it'll end up at Owen's when we meet up at some point, because he tends to get quite a lot of these and fixes quite a lot of them. The handle's missing, the cable's missing, both switches are there, but I'm assuming it's a switch problem, and it's a HVR 200/12, and the code is 150303599. Now I think on my other video somebody, can't remember who there was, identified the date of the that particular Henry. Now this one has got a particularly nasty feature, and I'm sure it's designed to keep people out, but without, it's a sort of security screw without actually being one. So I'm going to zoom in, and I've had the 4 base screws out already, so let's get rid of all that lot, tip this on his side and zoom in. So the 4 screws that hold the top on, they're down these long recesses which are that deep. And these ones are hex socket. Can we see that? There we go. And they're the usual stamped hex socket, where the socket is really quite shallow, and they're really incredibly tight. So trying to get an Allen or a hexagon drive into it and stay in there is difficult, and then trying to undo it you have to use extreme force. So this particular key has got this T end, and that was vital to try and get these undone. Really quite a nasty trick. They don't fit very well. I have an Imperial key here. It sort of goes a bit deeper, but you could see it moves a bit in the socket, and I think that would spin because these are so incredibly tight. So I think that's quite a nasty trick. And of course, because it's down there, you really can't see what you're doing, and your average person would go, I can't undo that. So there you go. Don't like that at all. There are 3 more screws there if we wanted to get the motor out, and the motor, if you can see, looks incredibly shiny. I can just see some numbers on it, but I can't see the date. No doubt somebody will come up with a date. I'm not inclined to try and undo those screws because of this problem. But anyway, I think the thing to do here is to, let me zoom out. So the thing to do here is to test whether it's going to work or not. So I think, have a look at the switches, and I'm assuming it's those that will be the problem. Put a cable on it, and if it works then to put it back together, and that's good enough. It's spares, isn't it? And whoever wants to use it first uses it. So let's get on with this, and if you remember, the switch gear is hidden or protected by this clip that just unclips. You need to get a screwdriver behind here. So let's do that. There we go. Right, now I think we could probably use the meter on this switch, but I think it pops out. I can't remember, but I do remember the wires are incredibly tight, so I think we can probably use a meter on that to check continuity. So let's do that. Let's find a meter. So there are two sets of contacts in here, a rocker, and there are 4 spade connectors, and that one, when it's switched on, that one's connected to that one, and the back one is connected to the back one. So put the meter on continuity and switch it on. Okay, so is that connected to that? Right, yes it is. Is the back one? Right, let's just see if we can get to the back one. Connected to the back one. It is! Wow! And switch it off. So that switch seems like it works. Amazing. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to put a cable in this. Let's zoom out again. For which can't remember. There's the cable that's been cut off. Yeah, so I have to undo those 3 screws, and this time they're a posi hex type screw, so that's not a problem. That those Allen headed bolts down the bottom of a deep recess and having poorly stamped heads, that's just appalling. They really don't want people to have these apart, do they? Right, that's that. Okay, so the cable comes along here, round there, and you just undo those screws, put the cable ends in there, feed it round, job's a good one. So you don't need to see that, so I'll just crack on with that and I'll get back to you shortly. Bearing in mind there is no earth, so it's a 2-core cable. Right, so I've got another wire on there, and you just feed it through this serpentine path. There you go. And of course the other thing to remember is to put this thing on. That's the cable guide that goes on the outside, and of course if you've got a plug on the end of the cable, then it's important to put this on when you're fitting the cable here at this point, otherwise there will be swearing. Right, so that's that, and then this goes on there and I'll replace the screws. Okay, so there's the screws and here's the contacts, and they're suitably greasy, which is good because they line up with these contact tracks here. So what I propose to do is just put that in there like that. Don't need to put the top on for a test. I've got it on and I've got it on low. I'm going to plug it in here and stand well back and just see what happens. So here we go. Contact! Right, well, I'm quite surprised about that. So that was on low, let's go on high. What can you say? It works. Maybe if I felt like it, I would have these rockers out of here and have a look at the contacts of the switches as shown in one of my other videos, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this one. But it works. So what's the scenario here? Is it because, oh, the handle's broken and it's rolled down the stairs and maybe the hose is a bit broken or split? Yeah. Oh, I'll just get another one. Or is it the cable got split somehow and somebody tried to get into it and was foiled by these things? Yeah, and gave up. But for you and me, it's not a problem. So here's a spare unit. I'm going to put it back together. You know, the fact that it was thrown out is a sort of the epitome of the learned helplessness, or not giving, or not caring about your personal impact. Oh, just get another one. Anyway, discussion, comments, yeah, always like to hear them, yeah, and I will catch up with you very soon. Cheers for now.